All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We got to take a look at this video of Riley Gaines. She was speaking at a university in Pittsburgh for the Leadership Institute and TPUSA, from what I could tell from the posters behind her. While she was speaking at this event, she asked a question to an anthropologist, a PhD anthropologist who was in the crowd.
I'm a PhD.
Okay, congratulations.
And anthropology is the study of human societies and what makes us human and things of that nature. And anthropologists study fossils, they study bones. So she asked this man, can you distinguish a male and a female, a man and a woman, based on their bones? Now, I'm no anthropologist. Don't get me wrong. I don't got a PhD, but I do know that men and women have different bone structures. In the heat of this culture war, that's something I've been hearing all the time, over and over and over again, but it's true. Men and women have different bone structures. So as an anthropologist who has to study things like bones to look deeper and dive deeper into the human species, you would think that this answer would be simple and that he would just say, yes, you can tell the difference. You can distinguish between men and women based on their bones. But I'm gonna play this video so you can see exactly what he said. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're watching. Now let's roll it.
I forget, but I actually have a question for you. You being an anthropologist, which anthropology is the study of human civilization, So if you were to dig up a human, two humans, in 100 years from now, both man and woman, could you tell the difference? Strictly off of bones?
No, because there's a wide range of... I'm sorry.
Women have...
I'm not sure why I'm being laughed at if I'm the expert in the room. Have any of you been to archaeological sites? Have any of you studied biological anthropology? I'm just saying, I've got over 150 years of data. I'm just curious as to why I'm being laughed at when
I believe it or not, I have put a lot of research into this because I'm not comparing myself to you. I'm not comparing myself to you. I'm just telling you that I have considered all viewpoints.
Now, I don't know if he had an issue of semantics, like the way she phrased the question, because sometimes people who are, who have a PhD,
I'm a PhD,
who are really smart, quote unquote, if you don't ask them something the right way, if you don't ask them a question with every specific detail lined out, then they won't give you that direct answer in which you are looking for, or the direct answer in which most people know to be true. But I would like to imagine very high probability that you can tell the difference between a man and a woman from their bones. I got an illustration here, so let's take a look at it. This got to be Anthropology 101 right here. Women have smaller frontal bone, smaller temporal bone, and smaller mandible. These are all bones in the face, bones that make up the facial structure. And just in that alone, there are, 3 key differences that this illustration draws out. And like I said, this got to be Anthropology 101, bone structure 101. This can't be too much of a deep dive. And then we go down to the hips and the pelvic region. Ilium more flared in women. Pelvis is tipped forward, causing greater curvature of lower spine, larger, rounder pelvic inlet. And men and women have completely different centers of gravity. That's why when you do that test where, you sit on your knees and then you put your arms behind your back, the women can stand up, but the men always falls because we have completely different centers of gravity.
It's the TikTok challenge that's a real battle of the sexes. It's called the Center of Gravity Challenge, and couples across the country are finding out who has better balance.
Here's how you do it. First, you get on your knees, then rest on your forearms, move to your elbows, then quickly put your arms behind your back and see if you can keep your balance.
Just to be sure, I challenged my friend and colleague, Stephen Fabian.
I feel like I'm gonna fall on my face. I've seen the videos.
I want to win, so I don't want you to hurt yourself.
All right, forearms to elbows, and then put your hands behind your back. So she could do it. Here I go.
That's so funny.
I really can't do it.
And lastly but not least, shorter long bone. So the long bone right here in the leg, which I'm not even sure which bone that is longer in men than it is in women. And down here it says increased Q angle. So again, I ain't no anthropologist. I don't got a PhD, mister. But from what I can see here, on average, you know, on a balance of probabilities, you could tell the difference between a man and a woman based on their bones. So this don't have nothing to do with how they chose to identify or nothing like that. No, no, no. This is just simply put, if you look back to older civilizations and you dig up these bones, you find these bones, they're well intact and you can examine them clearly. Can you tell the difference? The answer there should be yes. This is why a lot of people are losing faith in these so-called scholars, these so-called intellectuals, these PhDs. And people are honestly starting to wonder, what are they even learning? Is it even worth it? Because some of these people are going in to get these big fancy degrees with the PhD label on it, and they coming out and they can't tell the difference between left, right, up, and down. And this man didn't even provide an example to the contrary of what the crowd was thinking. He didn't own the crowd. The crowd owned him. When he said no, they all laughed, and the only thing he had for them was, I got a PhD. I got 150 years of knowledge. Okay, well, if you really got this knowledge, since you got a PhD, I'm a PhD.
I'm a PhD.
Okay, congratulations. But that was unnecessary, right?
You should be able to refute the claim that she's making, or, you know, give a good answer to the question in which she asks. But he was pretty much froze. All he could do was fall back and rely on his degree, his title, the title of his degree. That's all he had. Now, she asked this question within the framework of men and women competing in sports because she herself was an athlete and she competed against Leah Thomas. Riley Gaines, the 12-time All-American SEC record holder. I have been a devout swimmer from the age of 7. It's hard to explain the amount of time, hard work, and sacrifice I have made in an effort to be successful at my sport. Every opportunity and every small victory along the way made the next step possible. Last year, a 6'4" male, Leah Thomas, and I raced at the national championship, which ultimately resulted in a tie. Upon tying, I was told that Thomas, the male athlete, would get the trophy instead of myself, as it was necessary for photo purposes. Everything I worked my entire life for was reduced to a photo op to validate a male's feelings and identity of himself. All the women in the race faced unfair competition and the silencing of our voices through intimidation, emotional blackmail, and gaslighting by these large organizations and institutions. So we all know the highly political nature surrounding, you know, questions pertaining to that. And maybe this PhD woke intellectual, you know, doesn't want to appear, offensive. Maybe he buys into the woke ideology to some extent. I'm not exactly sure, but in my opinion, anthropology is one of those fields where you got to take your opinion out of it and just keep it real. If we want to know the truth about history and historical events, people of history and things of that nature, with all of these things that we find, we need people to be honest about what we find. And if we have people who claim that you can't tell the difference between a man and a woman based on their bones and their bone structure, then, you know, where is this profession headed? If people like him who can deny what we've known for so long, it just makes you question where anthropology is even headed. Imagine anthropology in, 50 years. But yeah, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe when you're at the door. And until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.